Good morning. Summer is certainly with us, and even though it gets hot on some of these days, we welcome each new day with joy and hope in expectation of good happenings. I'm Lois Becker, your service presenter today. Welcome to the Umpqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation. You're here with us today on Zoom, Facebook, or YouTube. We're looking forward to opening our doors to in-person meetings soon, with August 1st as our target date. It will be such a welcome change, renewing friendships and seeing smiles once again. The UU General Assembly has been held, and good news. Next year, the venue will be Portland, Oregon, and it will be available both in person as well as on Zoom. One of our goals for the coming year will be to bring in more young people into the church. Your ideas along this line will always be appreciated. All that we are is the result of what we have been thinking. All that we can be is based on our ability to change our thinking. Every choice comes with a consequence. Once you make a choice, you must accept responsibility. You cannot escape the consequences of your choices, whether you like them or not, said Roy T. Bennett in The Light in the Heart. It's always a pleasure to introduce our speaker of today. Donna Smith brings us a message of love and how to infuse our lives with peace and joy. Donna, in addition to speaking with us monthly, offers spiritual counseling and is active in our Cares and Concern ministry. Donna?
A very happy July 4th to all of my UUUC friends. I hope you're enjoying a day filled with picnics and friendship. You know, we think of July 4th also as a day filled with fireworks and celebration and the American flag displayed everywhere. Do you know what one flag said to the other? Nothing, it just waved. I know, I'll stop those kind of corny jokes. As we think back in our history, we will see that there has been a lot of war and sacrifice to gain and maintain freedom. July 4th, 1776 represents the adoption of the Declaration of Independence from British rule. The Constitution of the United States established America's national government and fundamental laws and guaranteed certain basic rights for its citizens. It was signed on September 17th, 1787 by delegates to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. The First Amendment to the Constitution protects 5 freedoms: speech, religion, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. So Americans have fought long and hard for freedom of choice. The consequences of our freedom of choice have been the loss of many lives and much suffering. So I wish to thank all of those brave souls who continued under dire conditions to help us bring freedom of choice. And when I look at other places in the world who do not have these freedoms, it brings even more gratitude from my heart for the freedoms that we do have. Now, we can look at free choice from an individual perspective or from a collective perspective as a humanity. From an individual perspective, we may think of freedom as the right to do anything that we want to. And that sounds great, doesn't it? However, so often we don't think about the consequences of our choices. It is important to remember that you have the freedom to choose every moment of your life, but you are not free from the consequences of your choices. You have the freedom to drink alcohol and take drugs. However, we are far too familiar with the consequences of these choices. Not only do they have a negative effect on the individual, but the effects may reach out and harm others. You have the freedom to hate someone or hold on to unforgiveness. You will be affected not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Holding on to hatred and unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Every choice you make affects you first. It starts within you, affecting your being and your soul before it ever goes out to affect another being or someone else. Many people are not aware of this and think their hatred or unforgiveness is affecting only those it is projected upon. You've probably heard the words like, "I will show them, I will never talk to them again." Well, you are hurting yourself. And you may actually be doing the other person a great favor. They might think it's better if you didn't talk to them. You have the freedom to blame others for your life circumstances. This is rampant in humanity. The consequences of blaming others is that you have given others control over your life. You are not free anymore when you do this. This is victim consciousness and harms the blamer, again, on all levels of his or her being. It seems to be a difficult thing to take responsibility for one's life. Our society has gone to great lengths to make it someone else's fault and has developed very sophisticated laws to make sure someone else is to blame. Again, what has happened is that we have given control of our lives to others in this process. As A Course in Miracles teaches, the consequences of our actions can be so painful that we project it onto another. It is their fault that I am in this predicament or I am feeling this way. The problem with that is that deep within, subconsciously, that we know that is not true. And this adds even more stress and unhappiness. This is why there is so much depression in our society today. What I have found is that when you take full responsibility for your life, it opens up so many freedoms for you. You are no longer controlled by others. So taking responsibility for yourself is not detrimental, it is freedom. Freedom that you want. The freedom to make your life the way you want it. So what greater consequences could we ask for? A life that you want. So many choices are made without thinking about the consequences. I have always encouraged you to go within to your inner guidance, your heart-brain coherence, to help you make decisions. It is here in your wisdom that you will access everything you need to know so you can make decisions whose consequences are life-enhancing. I personally have found that when I neglect to follow my intuition, I always regret it and I experience unwanted consequences. When you begin to think about the consequences of your choice, it automatically raises your consciousness. When you raise your consciousness, you begin to leave behind the consciousness of fear and move into the consciousness of love and mastery. That is the consciousness of the new universal human, as Barbara Marx Hubbard shares with us in her codes for conscious self-evolution. which she describes as a process of metamorphosis to realize our full potential self. And I have been sharing these codes with you in the UmQuest in Donna's Corner. And I encourage you to read them, contemplate them, and begin to apply them to your life. Her teachings are important in helping humanity move out of suffering and into empowerment. Now, mastery means you are totally responsible for your life, and you choose from a consciousness of deliberately creating love and peace and joy and wholeness every moment for yourself and others. There's actually nothing miraculous about it. You will decree a thing, and it shall be so. Whether you realize it or not, you do this every minute right now. So ask yourself if you are doing it from a place of deliberate creation or from a place of subconscious or even conscious fear. In other words, you are bringing what you want to you or bringing what you don't want to you. So when you realize that you alone have brought everything into your life by the choices you have made, you can then begin to make different choices from a higher perspective. And that is the consciousness that will leave behind the need for war, for hatred, for blame, and shame. That is the consciousness that will give you true freedom. In the Way of Mastery, it reads, freedom can only come to the mind that truly assumes complete responsibility for the creation of its experiences, so that in any moment it recognizes that the thoughts, the perceptions, and the feelings coursing through the emotional body are arising within the sovereign domain of that soul's being. They are uncaused save, again, for the seed thoughts or perceptions that mind or that soul has chosen to value for itself. Freedom of choice is inherent in our true essence as divine beings, and it is a divine gift that has been given to us. And as Peter Marshall reminds us, may we think of freedom not as the right to do as we please, but as the opportunity to do what is right. And I would add, to do what is right for ourselves and others. Bring your awareness to your every thought before you make a choice. The Way of Mastery continues to read, so many of you upon your physical plane keep searching for some form of magic that will bring the kingdom of heaven to you. You cannot bring it to you. You can only become aware of how you are using it to create the ripples that you send out from yourself. So the moment that you choose love, the consequences will change, and you will begin to be the powerful creator that you truly are. What happens then is that you send this higher consciousness out into the world, and you have an effect on everyone and everything around you. So let's now look at free choice and its consequences from a collective perspective. As the more of us who reach for and attain this mastery, the more it is reflected in our world. For the world is a reflection of the collective consciousness. We have been hit pretty hard by war, by violence, by killings, by disease, by fires, and other adverse weather conditions. So what does that tell us? The collective consciousness is still in deep fear. These are events that are showing us that we truly need to look at our choices and the consequences of our choices as a humanity. It tells us that fear is controlling us on every level of our oneness. There is tremendous overconsumption, a choice to have more and more and more and more, and the consequences. We are using up our resources at an alarming rate. losing entire species of animals, poisoning the earth with chemicals, etc., so that we can feed the choice of overconsumption. We are either hoarding or throwing away. Jim Rosemerge, a Unity minister, in his book, Even Mystics Have Bills to Pay, says, "The truth is we hoard because we feel insecure, believe in a limited supply, and fear what tomorrow will bring. We accumulate stuff because we mistakenly think it makes us secure, but hoarding actually contributes to a sense of limitation and feelings of insecurity. When we believe in limited supply and fear tomorrow, our fear and thoughts of lack spoil what we have." So we're either hoarding or we are throwing away, as I said. And we are throwing away so much in the landfills that are usable, but have lost our attention. We do not understand that there is no away. Everything that you think you are throwing away is still here on Mother Earth, and it is marring our beautiful planet and home. There is no away. There is a choice of hatred and disrespect for other beings, races, preferences of life, etc. Consequences include death and great harm, fear and polarization. So what we see happening in this world is the result of the choices we are making as a humanity. And is this what we want? Is this what you want? Is the damage we have done finally coming to the awareness of enough people that we begin to make other choices? Choices for all instead of for the few or for the self only. We have to make conscious choices instead of taking and taking and taking. I went to a baby shower at the end of May. There were probably 30 people there. I had given one item as a gift. Every other person there gave many, many items in their gift package. The baby had so many duplicates and so many clothes that it could not possibly use them all. It was a show of our overconsumption, and I did not feel good about it. Not only that, the next weekend there was to be another baby shower for the family of the father, and I understand that there were around 30 or 40 people and many, many more gifts. The parents had to store the items in bins and put them in the garage as there was no place to put them in the house. I know all of this because the parents are relatives of mine. There is great abundance for us all, each and every one. If we use our wisdom to manage and care for the resources and the abundance that we have been given, then we can save our Mother Earth and ourselves. We are a society out of control, and the things that have been happening in the last couple of years, I believe, is here to wake us up. We must become aware of the consequences of our choices. Our freedom of choice as a humanity has not been married to wisdom. We need the wisdom so we can change the consequences. Awareness is the key. I invite you to begin to consider your choices before you act. Sit with them and see how your heart feels. If it is aching, then something is not right. Feel your body. Is there any tension when you think about a certain choice? Check in with your gut. Is there any uncomfortable feeling there? And ask for higher guidance. And when you finally make a choice, be absolutely honest about it and take full responsibility for it. And this takes practice. So be patient with yourself and never fall into judgment. If it turns out that you don't like the consequences of a choice, just decide to choose differently the next time. And simply ask yourself, do I wish to continue it? Or would I like to start a new adventure? In other words, no blame, no shame. It's a learning process. In fact, one of our highest teachings is to bless all of your creations, all of them, for they are all your creations from your thoughts and your choices. The Way of Mastery gives a process whereby you bless your creations as they come into your mind. It is very powerful and, for me, has changed the way I look at so many things that have happened in my life. It is a process of acceptance for all that you have created and thereby a releasing that leads to peace. So to help you begin to understand the events of your life, you may want to ask yourself another question. If I'm having this experience, what must I have believed to be true about myself and about the world? And this is a very, very deep question. And if you contemplate it, it may bring deep understanding which will change your life. Every one of us is already a master. We have forgotten because we have allowed fear to control us. We must remember the thoughts we hold about ourselves and others that will produce themselves. Thoughts create after themselves. So if you look at all of your creations as good and bless them for the teachings they contain, goodness will come from those decisions. As we raise our consciousness individually and as a humanity, violence, war, and fear will not be on our list of choices anymore. We will have evolved to a point when we will be purposely creating from wisdom and not haphazardly from fear. And this is when we will see a new earth from a humanity that has evolved into a universal humanity. I really encourage you to read Barbara Marx Hubbard's work. She was truly a guiding soul for humanity. I want to close with a quote from The Way of Mastery. You are indeed a sovereign master of your domain. You cannot fail at any moment. Any form of experience that is unfolding for you is merely the fruit of the seeds of thought that you have planted within your mind. Look at the outcome in order to discover the thought. First say, that was a rich experience, and then merely ask, I wonder what I might most want to experience now. For rest assured, you will experience it. We are the creators and masters of our lives and experience and all the experiences in our lives. We are that powerful, and when we understand that, we begin to act as the sovereign masters that we truly are. And we become a universal human, creating a universal humanity of the highest consciousness. The world will change before our eyes as we reflect this loving power. So make your choices from your deepest wisdom. So I want to invite you now to join me in meditation. So please find a comfortable position. Relax and close your eyes. Breathe with awareness, feeling the breath move through your body, giving it life. Breathe. And now see and feel divine light flowing through your crown chakra and moving through your entire body, cleansing it and enlivening it, blessing it with wholeness. Just breathe and relax. Today I want to share with you the July 4th daily word from Unity. In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. There are many ways to feel free. I may work hard to become financially free. I may plan trips so I can freely explore the world. I may commit to learning for intellectual freedom, or exercise my body for greater freedom of movement. Even as I do my work in the world to know freedom, I remember that I am always free at the level of spirit. No situation or circumstance has power over me. Every day and in every area of my life, I live from my divine nature, where I am wholly and completely free. Through my inner power of understanding and faith, I recognize and embrace empowering beliefs. My spiritual gifts of strength and release keep me on course and help me free myself from habits that derail my spiritual growth. Through God within, I am grateful to be free. Let's just sit with these words in the silence for just a few moments. You are free by divine nature. And as you bring your attention back into your space, feel the freedom of life that flows in and as you. Life is beautiful, and you are beautiful. So as you take another deep breath, I want to thank you for being here with us this morning. And I am very much looking forward to August, when we open up and come back together in our beautiful sanctuary. So many blessings to you, my friends. I love you all.
Your life is the sum of all the choices you make, both consciously and unconsciously. If you can control the process of choosing, you can take control of all aspects of your life. You can find the freedom that comes from being in charge of yourself. By Robert Bennett. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth in the present moment, to appreciate the peace and the beauty that are available now. It's a matter of faith. It's a matter of practice.